Very cool.
You like that?
Yeah, simple to the point. I like that. I
It's
like what it's showing in the background. That's awesome.
yeah, it's got lots of ILM model makers in the background just building stuff, and some of the scenes have three different parts. Like one of them is this video we found with a rolling sand crawler. That's
Yeah,
off to the side. Each time you watch it, you got to like see cool
different
stuff.
things.
That yeah. Why did my lights go
Very,
off?
very cool. What's up, Scott?
There we go. Put it back on. Um,
Very
yeah.
cool.
So hey everybody, how's it going? So we got a special one tonight. We've talked about this for a little while now, haven't we, Michael?
Yeah, we've been trying to get the schedules mostly on your side. I mean, I don't have
Well,
any, I don't have
yeah,
anything.
lately, but I'm talking about long term. Right?
Oh, for sure. For
long
sure.
term. I mean, you and I think maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I was on a video with you, right?
Yeah, that's right. We were talking like your background vintage. That's
The
right.
vintage stuff, yeah.
Forgot about that.
And
That was
then you got all your stuff, and I got all my stuff, and then 4 years later now, finally get back on.
man. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of things, and I must say I'm very proud of how far you've come in the studio world and building models and stuff. I'm sure you've always had that talent, but
No.
it was just a few years ago where you realized the talent. I'm just saying it's facts. It's really cool, and
Yeah,
I
I
like what you're doing with the community when it comes to the models, and some of it's like over the top when it comes to this is for like the hardcore guys, but then there's the guys like even me. I mean, I'm a pretty big modeler guy, but when it
yeah.
comes to the details and the knowledge, I'm not even near that level.
Yeah, I can honestly say, like, you're one of the more passionate fans of studio scale modeling.
Well
You
said.
don't you I've had a couple people tell me that, like, you're like a kid in a candy store every time you talk about this stuff.
Thank you,
So,
man.
and
Sure.
every time you and I talk on the phone, it's like we're laughing, having a great time,
Yeah.
talking about stupid models that most people don't care about, but
Mhm.
um I can honestly say, man, like your passion for it even exceeds mine probably. Like, and
Uh,
I'm obsessed. So, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
were
it's always
best. I will, and thank you for that. I appreciate that.
yeah, well, I mean, I started up this channel now just because it's really, like we were talking before we got on, it's pretty much all I do. I don't collect anything else really anymore. I don't buy any statues or hot toys or anything. I build models, and and I build them because I can't really buy them. I can't buy a $4,000 or $5,000 model, so
Right, right.
I'm gonna build it. And I didn't know I could build them. I found out quickly though. So,
Yeah,
but
I remember you first tackled that when you were doing the sandcrawler. Did you already have the Millennium Falcon built when you did the sandcrawler?
I did the Falcon first,
Okay. Okay.
and then the Sandcrawler. With the two, well, there's three I wanted mostly. It was a Falcon, Sandcrawler, and Slave One. Those are the three I was like, I have to have.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
look at that.
if people don't know how it felt, how it even came about was like I've been collecting vintage since I was a teenager, right? But I mostly collected Hasbro stuff. And then when I got in the channel, we started buying like helmets and statues and stuff like that. But then there was a deal that I came across where I was going to get Master Replicas Falcon and AT-AT, and the
Mhm.
deal fell through. But by that time, I had already been like envisioning it in my collection. So I was like, if I can't buy it, I might as well try to build it. So luckily, I was able to build it pretty good, and then it just steamrolled from there. And I don't know. Was it studio scale modeling that first got us talking? I don't even remember how you and I started talking.
I don't know if it was the first thing, if that's how it started, but that's how it ended up. I mean, that's
Yeah.
always our conversations, almost every phone call ended
Yeah.
up like you're waiting on a model kit to show up, or, what it, and then we just, we're talking about that stuff. And, obviously, when I first met you, the cool side that I thought that me and you shared and still do shared a lot in common, obviously, like like everybody watching, is the love of Star Wars. And I think that, you know, one thing that I was really impressed with is what you have behind you. And I know we were talking a little bit before the show about how there's no more hot toys and not really any statues. And you've kind of 86 a lot of that stuff and then put all your passion into what you love, which is the model making. But I wanted to ask you real quick, Chris, because, you know, what you have behind you, those aren't easy to get. Is that something that you would say that you'll never get rid of and those will be handed down to your kiddos?
Oh yeah, they all know. All three of them know that they're coming to them. Even my wife is even like, "Well, which ones do I get?" And I said, "Well, what are you gonna do with it? You're not gonna display it." She says, "Well, I'm gonna sell it." I said, "Well, then you ain't getting shit."
Sounds
Like
like
it's
my oldest son. He already picks out which ones that he likes the most, and of course, they're the most expensive.
oh yeah, they all know what they
Yeah,
want.
sons of
They all
bitches.
know. And hopefully I got a long time to go, but I better make a will just so that you know, like one of them isn't like, I want the Boba Fett, I want the Falcon. Like it's not a fight between,
Oh
which I
yeah,
don't think it was. I don't think it will be, but I got to make sure each one of them has ones they like, but I got to make sure I even it out. So,
I've always said that I'm just gonna in the bit back of my property. I'm gonna take a big giant dozer and I'm just gonna dig a huge hole, and I'm
yeah,
gonna dump all my shit in there, and I'm gonna jump in the middle of they can just put my ashes in there with all my stuff. And just,
yeah,
no, but on a serious note, that's something that you don't really like to talk about, right? The reality of if something was to happen, what would you do? And I'm trying to figure out to where stuff like behind me can continue to be
hmm
displayed. And I mean, that's kind of what your channel and kind of what we do on our channel collection was. We talk a lot about, the collecting and, how to display and all that stuff. But, I think it's very important that, these things are, we've educated so many people, right?
yes.
People never even knew what a studio scale model was or a model.
People still don't know what a studio scale model
Exactly,
is.
exactly. And the thing is, though, is even though I always say on my Star Killer channel that, because we'll get a few diehards on the other side of the continent that'll just say, "Oh, you're wrong," or "This isn't true." But I know I don't ever say that I know it all. I'm trying to educate the normal person that's just watching. That
Right.
kind of gives them the basic education. Now, if they want to get a little bit more informed, and that would be a channel like yours, Chris, because I think though, no matter what, at the end of the day, being able to see this thing, because that when they were doing a lot of the Star Wars tours, they were touring around. I forget what that one Star Wars deal was, but they were, moving stuff like this one, which you and I both know, just moving around in the gallery a couple of times in a couple of years, you're going to break a couple pieces.
Oh
And
yeah.
they were trucking these things all over the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that the Avenger Star Destroyer, it's been had to be revamped because it was being, the way it was being shipped, it was on an upright deal, and so many pieces broke off.
Yeah.
So a lot of the diehards, hopefully, in the original photographs that have been, captured, at Skywalker Ranch, none of them are like they used to be when it comes to original stuff. And if
Oh
anybody,
yeah.
it's you. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of them like I have one model that every time I dust, I'm snapping the same
I
freaking
know
piece
them.
off every single time. Even though I know I've done it 100 times, it
Yeah.
still happens every single time. But going back to what you said about like like not wanting to talk about it, I talk about it all the time. I don't have a problem saying, listen, when I think about it a lot, okay? I think about the things I'm going to like all these things that I've built will mean more to my kids when I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna look at this. Well, the slave one won't be here anymore because I'm building another one. But like the Falcon and the studio sandcrawler that I'm building,
Yeah.
when I'm gone, they're gonna have it and they'll be like, my dad spent how much time of his life building this thing.
Yeah.
It'll just mean that much more to them.
Yeah. Because the
You
love
know,
that went into it and the passion, yeah, for sure.
and
That's awesome.
like
That's
my
awesome.
yeah, like my video I have up of my collection. You know, I went through it and I didn't once mention value. Like there was not value of something meant nothing to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I know these are valuable. Okay.
Yeah.
I know they have each one of them has a pretty decent price tag. And I know what they're valued at, but that's not what does it for me for these things. I'm not like, hey, this is a $10,000 Boba Fett, you know, this is the piece I'm going to give to my kid. Like,
Yeah.
and hopefully he feels the same way to the point where he's not going to go and sell it when I'm gone, which I don't think any of them will. My wife will, but my sons won't. But yeah, like I said, I think about that a lot. And I think about what my kids are going to think of me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they all know my passion for this. They all know like it. And I've even asked some of my kids, because I spend a lot of time in my garage. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. During the day when I'm not working or people are asleep, I'm in my garage working on this stuff. Nice. I'm almost never in there when my kids are home or my wife is home or at night when we're supposed to be eating dinner. I spend time with them. Okay. And to the point where I even think about it. I asked a couple of them, like, do I spend too much time doing this? Because I know I do. I spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, because I'm always spending time with them. So, you know, this is my obsession, but it hasn't completely taken over everything in me, you know?
Yeah.
My wife might say that opposite, but you know,
yeah, because if I can remember, Chris, the last time we were talking about it, you know, I don't know if it was a month ago or so. I remember we were having this normal conversation. You're like, "Hey, dude, wife home, gotta go." whoa, who's
gotta go? She's like, she pulls up. She's like, got a bunch of groceries. If I don't go out and help her carry them in, she's gonna be like, you know, like all.
That's what you were saying too.
Yeah, she'll just break her back carrying this stuff in. I don't feel like, you know, it's fun to rub her back every night, but you know, not all the time.
Babe, I just glued this part. I couldn't walk away.
yeah, exactly. There's been times, yes.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like this is, and I don't know. Okay, so I've always grown up slightly artistic, not autistic, slightly artistic.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I drew, you know, I wasn't great at drawing, but I don't know if you know, but I wasn't a union electrician for most of my life. So I work with my hands, you know,
right.
My hands are rough. They got calluses.
That's a tough business.
Dried up. Yeah. So I've always built stuff. And then, you know, once I put Star Wars and painting and building things all in one thing, it was like, I don't even know what, like, just mind blowing to me. Like it was the thing that I was meant to do, you know, like just what I love doing. I could go in my garage at 8:00 in the morning, and next time I look at the clock, it's 5:00, and I'm like, where the hell did that day go? You know? So I get it, man. I know you build a lot of things too. You've built you sent me a lot of pictures of stuff that you've built as well.
Yeah, mostly just like little things, but I love, as you know, and a lot of people are watching it, I like the dioramas. I love building the environments around the models. It's really easy stuff, but I really enjoy doing stuff like that. I've got a 6-scale X-Wing in the works right now that I'm going to do remember the diorama that I have right now with the 124 scale Salzo version X-Wing? Yeah, I'm going to.
Is it the Dagobah one?
The Dagobah.
Okay, we'll show that. I can bring that up actually.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that in a 6-scale display.
Okay.
Yeah, the X-Wings, Philip, he's doing that right now. He's doing a fantastic job on it. Builds it all out of styrene, no 3D print stuff.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of 3D printed stuff. There's, you know, like I think a lot of people either love or hate 3D. I'm not a huge 3D printing fan because I have nothing against it other than I enjoy building. I enjoy taking the ship and putting the parts on. And as you pointed out in your collection video, that, what would you call me? A nerd what?
Maybe a nerd ball. I don't know.
Nerd ball? Yeah. It's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I look at pictures for hours trying to figure out what these parts are.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. But it's cool.
Right.
It's cool. But there's only like, I mean, seriously, let's get real. There's maybe less than 50 people in the world, I think, that are that diehard. I mean, wrong or right? I mean, maybe a little bit more. I mean, but
I think there's
actually,
more than you think. I
yeah,
think that I
yeah,
know quite a
that may be
few.
so. That may be so. But I will tell you though, you had mentioned the 3D print stuff. Um, I actually maybe some of the Jason Eaton stuff would be 3D printed. You know?
Yeah, he does a lot of 3D printing, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he does now because he can't really work a lot with his hands. But
Right.
other than that, I've got the ball speeder. But all of my models are all resin kits. You know, they were all cast
Yeah.
and originally made. So
A lot of them are
actually,
done by Salzo, right?
yeah, yeah. What about it?
Yeah. A lot of them are done by Mike Salzo, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say 80% of these models are Salzo built models.
Okay.
I just
And
have such a hey Jeff, good to see you, man. But I just have such a good relationship. A lot of people that get into this industry know, and especially you and me, Chris, have learned even like early on when you were getting into whether it's just getting casting parts or whatever. It's really hard dealing with some of these people. They might be very talented at casting or building, but when it comes to the business side of things, it's an absolute nightmare. So
yeah.
where I'm going with that is when I went through a lot of trials and tribulations meeting certain people. We're not going to name names.
Yeah.
And when I finally found Mike Salzo, I was able to uh, create a relationship where there has literally been, and I'm not even bullshitting, from model one, and there's been a lot of models, there has not been any drama at all.
Yeah.
There's times he sent me a $5,000 model and just said, "Oh, just send a check whenever you're ready." I mean, we've got that kind of trust built with each other, and I'm just really glad to have somebody like him because modelers to find a builder like you or Salzo or Eaton or any of these other good artists, it's hard to find. There's very few of them that even because it takes so long to just do one model. Like I hooked our friend Joseph Azar, he's a good friend of mine, and I know he's a friend of yours too, Chris. I hooked him up with Salzo, and it was like, God damn, dude, it's like sharing my girlfriend, dude. It's like, come on, dude. When Mike's working on one of his models, I get a little jealous. It's like, okay, back on my shit. Like, don't be fucking cheating on me.
Yeah. Don't be taking time away from my stuff.
That's my shit. But on a serious note, dude, I have learned in this industry of the models that you have to be very patient because at the beginning I didn't know a lot, but there's some good ones out there. Mark Elkins is, I think, one of the really good modelers out there. That he was one of the first guys that I met on the legitimate side that really put me in touch with like Mike Salzo and stuff. And obviously the guy who really got me started was our friend Kurt Kuhn. And he's not doing so well right now, but I love that guy, Chris, and he did so much for the modeling community, when it came to Modeler Magic. Are you ever on that site anymore, Modeler Magic?
I don't go on anymore. I used to a lot because like I know that it's basically, is it public domain now or what? There's so many ads I can't really focus on. It drives me nuts when I'm trying to look at something and 10 million ads pop up. I can't. I don't have the patience. So I've been on it a lot.
Yeah, so the guy that took over, I think his name was Chris, and he's in the UK. And when he first took over, it was, I think it was good. Like he was good. He was like, "Hey, can you send some of your mom?" But I haven't heard from him since.
Right.
So I haven't posted anything on there. But Kurt was, what I love so much about Kurt is he didn't judge any of the artists out there when it comes to their ability and their skills. Some people out there, I mean, you and I might look at it and think, "Oh, damn." But when Kurt would see it, you know what I'm saying? But when Kurt would see it, he gave that person, because there's a lot of people that start that maybe not be that good, but could end up being better artists than a lot of us out there. So
exactly
put people out there like that was, I think, a really big thing, you know, and he got a lot of slack a lot of times, but he was the guy that was putting people, enthusiasts, passionate people like me, Chris, in the community of wanting to be interested in who do I buy from and where, and then also the artistry side on the artists, the people that you know count on these things making a living, you know, because this stuff was huge in 2010, and, you know, before me and you were even, you know, knew anything really about this stuff. And then when I think I started really kind of getting into it, and I think before I met you, you were, you know, dabbling in it. But when it came to, in the last three years, look how far it's come. I mean, it is.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, we got Michael at NYC. You know, he's building models out there. I know you've talked about Michael and stuff, and you know, it's he's, you know, out there making it possible for people, number one, who don't have to go through trying to find the artists and the reasonable price. They're not to spec all the time, but you know, there's 60 to 70 people out there that'll be able to get something that satisfies them on their show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's part of the reason why I started this new channel. A, because I really wasn't into the collecting anymore. Yeah. And B, I felt like there wasn't a place that people who are mainly into this could go. Okay. Yeah. And on the Facebook group, there's a lot of newer people.
Cool.
And I remember when I started out, it was breaking in was pretty difficult. Like, it was hard to get answers. It was hard to get to know people. It was hard to get kits. Like, I can't tell you how many times I tried to get a kit that got sold out from underneath me.
And it's still hard.
Oh, it's still very hard. Yes. But I think what I wanted to accomplish with this is, you know, as a safe place, you know, because it's true. There are a lot of people who are, you know, like, you know, but I kind of want to just like, hey, you got a question? If I can't answer it, which, like I've told a million times, I'm no expert. Yeah. I'm very new at this. Okay. But if I don't know it, maybe somebody who does know on the channel will be able to answer, you know? So, and plus, like, you know, like, let's take, for example, Jeff mentioned today, he's like, how do I figure out which ones are the grays, you know? And I was very busy today. I wanted to answer, but I didn't have time to answer today, you know, and to give answers for stuff like that, you know? And also, okay, I'm hopeful that when you have somebody who comes on and puts something up, like, I know when I do something and it looks like dog shit, okay, I want somebody to tell me, okay, maybe you could have did this a little different or this a little different. I know I don't take it personally. I'm very, very open to constructive criticism, you know, and I'm hopeful that on this channel and this show that people can do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, nobody starts out perfect. I mean, even like my Falcon, I look at it now and I'm like, okay, well, I would have changed that. I would have changed that. I would have done this a little different, you know? So really all of like with Jeff, with his grays, there's people who have experience, and the more you get experience, the more you'll be able to tell the differences between those grays and, you know, like different techniques. So, you know, and there really hasn't been a place for us nerd bombs. Was it? I gotta remember. I gotta go back. Nerdball. Yeah. Us nerdballs to go to.
You're like,
I loved it. No. I loved it. I started laughing. I'm laying in bed watching it with my wife's laying.
You know me, dude. It's
yeah, we've had some colorful conversations. Yeah. And you know, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, she's like, what are you laughing at now? Like, because I'm always just sitting in my bed laughing at stupid shit on Facebook. Yeah, like
you're like, starting out. Just call me a nerdball.
Well, it surprised me that you brought my name up in that you're showing your beautiful collection, and I'm like, and if you hadn't told me, I wouldn't even like, I would have been watching it and been like, where did my name come into this? Like,
oh no, dude, because I'm going to tell you why. Because when it comes up to legitimate, when these people that are really, because there's a lot of people that are really serious into these things. I really, whether it's very knowledgeable or not, that I know that you're really studying and learning, and it's something that there's a lot that goes into that, and
yeah, there is.
it's something that I don't want to go down that because respectfully, I think it kind of takes away, it might not to you, but to me, it kind of takes away just, the, the deal.
Mystique.
But you're on a different level. You're an actual artist that builds these things and can make something from nothing where I can't do that. You know what I mean? I'm the guy that can have it in my head visually and say, this is how I want it done. And I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? Because they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for, that. So, but
those kit parts, I wondered, okay, I really wondered if it would taint my view of the models, like, because you grow up with these things. These things are ingrained in your whole personality. Okay, like we grew up in the age of Star Wars, so it's ingrained in us. Okay,
yeah,
and you look at the AT-AT, right? I'm looking at a Kenner one, and you start looking at it, and there's kit parts on there. There's tank parts and airplane parts and race car parts and stuff like that. And I worried that it might change my view of these things, but it actually has fascinated me even more. Like it's just it. I also wondered if I looked at this something like on the movie,
yeah.
and if it would change the way I view this ship in universe. And it hasn't, not at all. I can still look at it in the movie as just a character in the movie, and on the side still build and
So when you look behind me right now, you don't see a submarine and a couple tanks.
No, I don't actually.
Hey, and that's what's so cool, Chris, is sorry if I cut you off.
No, you did.
What's so cool is, I know a lot of the McCrory would create these renderings and, they would collaborate a little bit. But when they take the kit bashing side of things, like this thing behind me, and this thing was built really fast. If you knew how fast that was built, if I can remember, it was like a day and a half. It was something really crazy.
We talked about it on our show last time. That's we a lot of us feel that might be just like 24 hours. I don't know if that's completely true. It probably take 24 hours just to make the armature alone.
Yeah. Well, the thing I know for us, that's the funny thing is, but I think the difference is, though, Chris, is you guys are trying to find the accurate shit where they didn't have to do that. They were just picking shit out of a box and throwing it on there.
True.
So, but when I talked to Bill, who had his hands in on this one, he loved this one. I was at Wonderfest, which I wish I could saw you there. When we were talking, I was showing him this thing, and it was really cool hearing the backstories of what went into this. And there's a show, a documentary. I know you've seen it. I can't remember what it is, but they go into, it was when Golly was still on and talking and stuff, but they would go into each one of the ships and kind of talk about that particular ship. Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. On it's like it's on the DVD.
I love
yeah, it's great. Yeah.
But anyways, just kind of hearing the backstories of certain models, it's just, because like you, Chris, I mean, I can't remember that ship that you were getting. I don't know if you ever got it, but it was one of your favorite ships. I forget what movie that was from. What was that ship? It looked almost kind of like the Viper. Almost.
Oh, the Milano.
Yes.
From Guardians. I still don't have it.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for it. It's been 2 years. I'm still waiting for it.
Yeah, that's okay. So, but my point is that, like a lot of the Galactica ships, and just seeing these old beat up type of, and just how something, it'd be really kick ass unless, forgive me if you did and I don't realize it, for you to build a ship that could be from the film, that could have been a background ship. You never know,
Yeah.
That would be
well,
cool.
Actually, I have one that I'm working on that is just a blob, but I consider it a background ship. Like,
nice.
Yeah, there's one that I'm doing that I have the parts. I just haven't had time to start it yet. Yeah.
But there's just something I remember as a kid seeing these models. And when I would go and I'd buy all these, you remember when in the 80s, those kits that, you know, you'd have the X-Wing, Return of the Jedi X-Wing, the TIE
NPC ones.
Interceptor.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't have the patience to build it, probably like you did, you know,
I
but
never built a model before in my life,
huh?
Michael. I never built one single model in my entire
No
life
kidding.
before
So
this talking. Never.
that being said, the people out there, and I know you've had a lot of conversations that I might have missed, but that's a perfect example that a lot of people that tune into your show or you know watch one of my videos talking about studio skill, that they might have that the you know that not just the inspiration, but they might have that talent because some people have it and some people just don't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some
Yeah.
people have to learn it, and some people
Yeah.
just have a natural ability, and it's like fucking crazy. But
Yeah.
you know, I think with me, it's a patience thing because you know, my dad was not much in my life, but he was very much when he worked with Walt Disney and stuff. He built a lot of like model airplanes. He flew for like James Bond, Living Daylights, Empire of the Sun, and I could never have done that, you know.
No. No.
So, but to know that seeing those models that he built and seeing kind of where I'm at, even though he never knew about you know what I was into, I think he'd
Mm-hmm.
be pretty proud. But it'd be
Yeah.
so cool to have been able to be around him at a younger age, seeing that kind of stuff, you know. But it's
Yeah.
kind of weird that we were never together, but yet we share so much in common, you know. That kind of
You
stuff.
know how you say, you don't have the patience?
Mhm.
I'm pretty impatient. You could
Yeah.
ask a couple people. I'm not very patient. And I do a lot of work with my dad around the house. And he's like,
Mhm.
I get frustrated pretty quickly when I'm trying to build something. But
Yeah.
for some reason, and he's like, Chris, you gotta just relax. You got it. It will work out. Just
Yeah.
and I get frustrated. But for some reason, when I'm working on this stuff, I don't get frustrated at all. Like
That's
I
awesome.
I could spend an hour trying to glue one little tiny part on, and it
Yeah.
won't drive me. And I'll glue it to my fingers 100 times, and
Yeah.
I might curse a little bit, but
Yeah.
I still don't get all that frustrated to the point where, there are times when I want to throw the thing against the wall, but not very often. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
I
like,
know Jeff that reached out to you. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. He's got patience, and I learned actually a lot from Jeff. You know, it might not be model related, but like building the action figure case. I love that's one of the coolest things I have. I think that's a balanced piece. You know, but just being able to you know build and not you know me. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I mean, y'all know me as oh Michael, you know you're a good dude. But when it comes to stuff like that, when I start getting aggravated, like I used to, you know, I've owned a off-road truck accessory thing for 35 years, and I would build these trucks that were in the magazines and at SEMA and all this. And my son's taken over, but I could get under there and wrench on my own stuff. But what I'm getting at basically is there's some certain models that I'm ready to throw them across the fucking. I can't handle it. Like you, it's like relaxing. You got a little bit of, you know, Michael McDonald in the background or something. But me, dude,
Michael McDonald. We're talking more like Limp Biscuit and
oh,
and
what the
and
hell?
Corn and and
Me
and
would be
Tool.
Barry Manilow or Neil Diamond or something.
Yeah. Oh, is it really Barry Manilow and Neil Diamond? Well, Neil
Oh,
Diamond's
dude,
cool.
I'm ruined now, right?
Didn't you
Uh,
tell me you told me one person you listened to, and I'm like, what is that you listen? I think it's really old. Oh, like Barry Manilow, sort of. I forget what it
now
is.
Eagles, I'm like
No,
Eagles
I
is
like the Eagles. I like
yeah,
the
Eagles is one
'70s
of my favorite
bands.
bands, but
Yeah.
but, but yeah, there's a lot of them out
Now, let
there.
me ask you a question, Michael.
Yep,
So, was it okay? You're a little older than I am.
I
Did you
just
play?
turned 54 now.
Okay, so you're not that much older than I am. I'm turning 50 next week. So, like, did you play with all these toys as a kid? Because that's where this comes from for me.
Yeah.
Like when I was in, let me see, it was probably third or fourth grade is
Mhm.
when I was really into this. And all the kids in my cul-de-sac, which it was Glen Circle, it was a cul-de-sac. We all would just go play this stuff
Yeah,
every
that's
single
cool.
day.
Yeah,
And that's where all my craziness comes from, because I played with these as a kid. Not
yeah,
because I really The movies are great. Don't get me wrong; they're good, but it's
Yeah.
mostly the collecting of and playing with this stuff when I was,
Well, plus they didn't have cool ass toys until like then
no,
either, you know? And
no.
that's a good question, Chris, and that's a fun question, especially for everybody in the chat. But with me, believe it or not, and I might have talked about this a long time ago, but dude, I don't know what it was, but even most of all of my childhood that I can remember, all I wanted to do was have them all. I wanted to collect them. I remember getting every figure. I would open it up, and I would have like 25 stormtroopers, you know. And you
Mhm.
remember the collector's case, and you could flip it
Yeah,
over and you put the. So I
yeah.
had a shit ton of those, and then when I had the complete collection, I would continue, you know, buying more figures and filling it all up in between the stands, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I had the posters on the wall. I had this crazy room that even in high school that my girlfriend could never understand why she couldn't go in there. But honestly, like I would get down and I'd set up. I would just like set up scenes and stuff.
Hmm.
But I was never really like and then go in and that's what's really cool about like sometimes we've been seeing a lot on the Instagram like these. I love seeing that these '80s throwbacks, you know,
Oh yeah,
and
the
like
pictures.
our
Yeah.
friend Armando, he the Sims prequels guy, he'll show these old videos or photographs. I love seeing 1970s and 80s photographs of kids playing with their toys. You
Hmm.
know, whether it's GI Joe or you know Star Wars. Were you into GI Joe or well, look you were
Um,
like
G, G,
He Man and
G,
shit.
no, GI Joe was a little bit. That was early. That was mid '80s, right? Like '85, something like that.
Yeah, a little before that. It was earlier than that, like '82. It was
I had a
around when Empire
few.
came out. It was out.
Yeah, I had a few. I didn't really get into GI Joe that much. I was never into He Man at all. That was
Yeah,
a little
I
too.
wasn't either. I never was
No,
either. It
no, I
was cool,
never.
but I just didn't
E-
care.
Even Transformers. I had a bunch of Transformers, but it never really. It didn't connect with me like Star Wars did. Like I
Yeah, I
don't.
never bought one Transformer. Isn't that weird?
No, I had a bunch, but I don't know. They just kept breaking, and you transform them, and they break, and then screw that. Most of my stuff was everything was played with. It was all beaten to crap by the time my parents
Well,
threw it
and that's
away.
what they were for, you know. And those are the good
Yeah,
memories, and especially
yeah,
finding like the old original, you know, figure that you had and played with. It
no,
means so much
many.
more than something that you bought, right? And you know what I mean. When you're older
Yeah,
now.
I understand. I understand why it would be, but I don't have a single one from when I was a kid. Not one. My parents, when I stopped playing with them, they ended up in a big box. I was too interested in girls, and they got tired of it being in the basement. They just threw it out. And
Yeah, getting that those
it's what it
stories
is.
kill me. But you know what
Yeah,
I really liked was action figures. Whether
yeah.
it was, you know, the Black Hole or Indiana.
Oh,
I
that was
really did
cool.
like
Yeah,
the Raiders of the Lost Ark ones.
yeah,
Indiana Tron, they were really cheap. You know,
yeah.
some of
Yeah,
those.
going to the store, and I have so many memories of just going to the store with my parents and being I specifically too Gamorrean Guard. I saw it and I wanted it for the longest time, and I finally saw it. I was like, oh my god, I gotta have this. Like I was freaking out. My mom's like, no. She said no. I was just, Mom, I've been waiting for this forever.
Yeah.
No, no. So, and the other one was I got Bausch. First day I bought Bausch, right?
Which was
Open up
your favorite figure?
I'm sure it was. I know there's pictures of me with Star Wars one. I have no idea which one was the first ones,
Yeah.
but the two I remember the most, like Gamorrean Guard and Bausch. I remember opening up my Bausch, and as soon as I opened it, the helmet went flying, and I never found it again. Like it was gone. I just
Holy
lost it.
shit.
Yeah. So those are two big memories I have. Not great ones, but big ones.
What's your
So
favorite Star Wars movie?
Empire, easy. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Empire, Jedi, and then Star Wars is probably my order, and then maybe Sith. I'm not. I like the prequels. I don't like the first two prequels. The first two prequels, I don't think I could watch like again. Like
Yeah, I
it's just
understand.
yeah, and we won't even get the other ones. Don't even exist. The ones the sequels don't even exist to me. So
Yeah, it's like
um
watching those. Not even going to bring up Jar Jar, but going to those, it's kind of like going and watching a government debate. You know, you got to learn shit. Why do I have to know what a Senate is and all that? It's like, anyways. Yeah, that was
Jar Jar really ruined episode 1 for me. Like I went in excited as all hell, and I watched it and I was like, what the hell is he fucking saying? Like I didn't even understand him. Now I can understand what he's saying, but
actually, Chris, those now are getting pretty popular.
Oh yeah. But
because it's through that certain group of era, like my co-host Gabe on Collection was his favorite movies, Return of the Jedi and of them all. And you just said Empire, then Return, and then Star Wars. I was like, kind of threw me off on it, really, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Well, that's when I grew up. Between Empire and Jedi. That's when I grew up. And you know what's funny is my wife, she's better now. She didn't used to watch things that I suggested. So I finally got her to actually watch the Star Wars movies, right? And we're watching episode, A New Hope. And even I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, all right, this is a little slow and a little not, I don't know. It's just, and she's like, I don't know, I can't watch it. I'm bored with this. Like, I'm just like, well, you got to see the next one. The next one's kick ass. The next one is makes it so much worth it. Nah, I'm good. I watched. I've seen enough. So
I feel sorry for people like that. I know they look at us and feel sorry for us, but Chris, though, and it is the age gap, but maybe, and it's not even a really big one between me and you, but I think it just depends on how you're raised. I think a lot. It's kind of weird how I'm saying that, but what I mean is when I saw Star Wars for the first time, that was the first time I ever saw anything like maybe when you saw Empire, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing with Star Wars, there was nothing slow about it. I mean, it was very simple, but it was, boy gets the girl, and they get the bad guys and kick their ass, and at the end, everybody lives. It was just nonstop. I wanted so much to be there, and I just remember always going and watching that again. And I think even if it might not be the best of the stories or any, it just because it was the original and what I remembered first is why that one is so close to my heart.
Yeah. Plus, you're a little bit older than me, and you probably remember it a lot better than I do. Seeing it in the theaters. I know I went with my dad to see it. He took me. Probably not in 77 because I was 3 years old, but they re-released it right before Empire, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? One of the other big things for me was, in between each movie, there was 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 years for, a 6 or 7 year old boy, you're wondering what the heck is going on. Like you want to know what's happening, what's coming next. Though between those 3 years, your mind is just going nonstop thinking, well, Boba Fett, what is he doing now? Like, what's he doing with Han Solo? It's so, I don't know. It just makes your imagination go crazy between movies. You know what I mean? Now it's so much stuff in between. There's not really a period where you can be like, fantasize with your brain,
which is way better. Like Boba Fett. We want to remember Boba Fett. That that maybe in a comic book he did fly out, or maybe he died then, but whatever. Yeah. But anyways, the sad thing is when you had mentioned that your wife was like, "Okay, I'm done, I'm bored." It's just they were different. I was asking a friend of mine today. He's a good friend of mine, and I was asking him, "Hey, dude, we've been hanging out several years. We work together, Chris." And I go, "Do you have any hobbies, dude? Is there anything? And do you like to? I know you like to lift weights and stuff, but I mean, do you like to?" Is there anything that you, and he's like, no. And it's like, man, it's weird how people, people look at us. I know my son looks at me like, Dad, you got a problem. But like today's generation, when it comes to attention, like your wife being able to actually sit down and watch Empire. If we were to sit the kids down nowadays to watch E.T. or the original, Indiana Jones, Raiders Lost Ark, they're just bored of it,
Yeah. Attention span's not what it used to be.
Yeah. And it's shitty because, there's just, the writer, there's no, the writers out there, not many good writers anymore that can really come out. There's good ones, don't get me wrong, but they're just not coming out with any good movies anymore. So they're having to bring them back out, the movies again, or they're going to ruin an
Yeah.
existing movie. But when it comes to like music, we were talking about music. You can't. It's just not very often a really good song comes out that you can say
No.
that's gonna one day be a classic. There's just.
I think to myself, am I just an old man where I'm just like, oh shit, I didn't want to bring that up yet. Am I just an old man that I don't like new music? But that's not the case. New music sucks. It's not done well. It's not like a lot of things aren't done well nowadays compared to back then.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to studio scale modeling.
Yeah.
Is there something like, do you have projects going on right now that you can share, that you like talk about, that you have like coming up, or that you're working on? Or
I do, yeah. And first off, I saw Evan just popped on. What's up, Evan? Good to see you guys. And I saw Scott. Yeah, when it comes to models I've got working right now, I've got the actual studio scale snow speeder in the works.
okay, yeah,
I've got a 2-foot Battlestar Galactica Viper being built.
okay,
And nothing is done until it's done. But I'm working right now on trying to get the Close Encounters of Mothership rolling.
yeah, I remember you said that in the video.
Yeah. So, and dude, that I really want to get the Nebulon thing going. The gentleman who built this medical clinic, yeah, he fantastic artist. He said that he would consider, building me those ships. So
The Home One,
huh?
Home One. Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I like Home One.
yeah.
The other one, I don't remember what the other one's called. The
I don't know either,
green
but
one
like
with
right
the
now, you
orange.
said the home one. Yeah, I mean, I know there's two, and I
Yeah.
told him I wanted both of them.
Okay.
I'm trying to complete all of the original studio scale models.
Okay.
And I definitely, one day I hope within the next 5 years to have a Falcon, but if I have it, it's going to be probably purchased from a friend.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So okay, so let's talk about your new collection room there.
yeah.
Now your other room, that is the second floor to your house. Am I correct? No.
So we live on 25 acres. So my house is about 100 yards away.
Okay.
So I built a gallery separate from the house.
Okay.
It's where I keep my cars, my motorcycle collection.
Okay.
And then we've got upstairs above that, I've got a theater room, a pretty good sized theater room, and then a 3,000 square foot upstairs gallery for just, it's a lot of people are familiar with the Circular 77 gallery. And then what I did is I built this one as an addition off of that building.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
And then created another storage place for another vehicle. But I'm really gotten crazy, Chris, with the vintage stuff lately. I'm really into like the mongoose bikes, that we had as a kid.
Yeah. The
BMX bikes.
BMX bikes.
Yeah. I love that stuff. And then I've been, went to pick up a couple vintage dirt bikes. My first bike was a 77 YZ80, and then an 83 that my mom surprised me with, YZ80, which was the first brand new bike that I ever had.
Right.
And anyway, I ended up buying like 10 of them. It's ridiculous. So I'm trying to create like a little studio thing for my motorcycle collection.
Right.
It's cool. But
I'm just gonna show a bunch of pictures while you're talking. You don't have to talk about.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
So this right here, there was a lot that went into trying to think of the design, the layout. Building these pedestals, a lot of people can get these things built custom. I decided I wanted to build them myself, and there was some inspiration from some friends out there, Lee, a friend of mine, and a lot of other guys out there that are really good at displaying. So on the zooming in, you'll see there's some certain things like on the top of these pedestals are not done yet. I gotta get finished up the paint. We got to
Yeah.
finish some patching on the walls. But above the like where this falcon is, I don't know if you can go to find a picture of that whole wall. I don't know, but above that wall, let's see if we can go to a wide shot. I'll tell you which one. Let's
I don't know if you sent me that.
there you
This
go,
one
right.
here.
So to the left, right there, yeah, perfect. So to the left, where you see the shadow spots up there,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have some shelves, and they're badass shelves. My friend Lee showed me these. They're called samurai shelves or something, and they can hold up to 55 pounds per shelf. So
Really?
up there, we're gonna have additional um, uh, models up there. A couple of things, Chris, going into this. I wanted this to also be, a gallery of just things that are really precious to me. Like I had showed, if anybody hasn't had a chance to watch Star Killer 77, it's already hit almost 40,000 views this last week. But I was showing my Battlestar Galactica Joe Johnston helmet that was built.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it has a lot of lineage to it because part of the Cylon Raider ship parts are actually on this, which is really
Okay.
good. But what I was going to get at is there's a Chris, in these communities, everybody like that's watching the chat tonight, you just meet so many really cool artists out there, and I was able to meet a gentleman this week. His name is James, and I'm so blessed to know him now. And he's been a follower for quite a long time with our channel, Collection Wars, and he knew that my love for and I told you about this, and you weren't even familiar with it, but there's a movie called Laser Blast.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And this guy sculpted out of clay these beautiful laser blast aliens, and dude, they're spot on. You wouldn't know if they were right out of the movie. It's really cool, and I just wanted to do a shout out to this gentleman and just say, man, thank you so much. It's really, really cool. But the reason I brought that up is because I am going to display those here in this gallery. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So it's going to be mostly models, but I count sculpts and some of that stuff.
I'll tell you what, Michael.
What's that?
I'll tell you what, Michael. The design of this is
Yes, sir.
it's pretty freaking awesome, dude. Like
Thank you,
it's clean. It reminds me of, oh God, I'm trying to remember what that traveling museum display of the Star Wars. It was in Japan. I don't know if it's traveling, but where they're all like down the center and they're all lit up from the top.
Yeah.
Kind of. I can't remember what the name is. I'm sure somebody knows what it is.
And go to the main wide shot again of the gallery. Let me
Sure
explain something that's really. Let's see. Okay.
This one.
Yes. So when you see this, it's so clean and it's so easy though. And I learned this from my gallery upstairs is that it's so easy to start adding more shit, and then all of a sudden it's gaudy. You start losing museum quality. So
yeah.
So my goal is just so you know, I plan on putting 6 more shelves up there on the left, and I am the only photographs that I'm putting up here. Like I picked up that beautiful ILM from our friend Jeff that's got all the signatures of all the ILM artists. So I have some Dykstra signatures and Lauren Peterson, and so those are the photos that I will have up there. I've got a really cool ET photograph as well of the ILM guys. So, but I want people when they come in this gallery, the few people that will get to see this, they'll be able to, at least in person, they'll be able to get that museum tour look, feel.
It's funny because you have the same exact flooring as I do.
Oh,
same
do I
colors.
really?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. And
that's
same
hilarious, dude.
Wall colors. I'm sure you've seen my collection room, but it's
I have, but I honestly, respectfully, I don't remember the floors, but that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
remember your room is badass. I remember that. Hey, so we'll get right back on track here, but since you're getting rid of all you got rid of a lot of your stuff. What about your lifestyle stuff?
oh no, I okay, let's put it this way. I've gotten rid of stuff that I don't have a lot of life-size stuff. I have helmets. I have one life-size snow trooper.
I love that fucking
I
thing.
have, like Chewy. I have Chewy, and I have some busts from, RS. But for the most part, okay, I still have statues and I still have hot toys. I'm just
This
not
is stuff that
buying
you like.
anymore.
You're just not going to get
It's
more of that stuff.
right. It's stuff that I've gotten rid of the fluff stuff that I don't really care about. Like
Mhm.
I'll never get rid of my Gamorrean Guard Mythos statue. I love it. Not that I don't like this stuff anymore. I just n- stuff that's coming out isn't really appealing to me anymore. Like
I
I don't
understand.
want to sell like
And Carter C. and Stuart Brown, that's exactly what it was. It was Magic and Myth because
was it Magic and Myth? Why
it
did I
was it
want to
was
say
different. It was different though. They did a couple of different ones. The Magic and the Myth was the one that I went to in Washington.
okay,
But
this is the one I'm talking about is in Japan, I think. It's like
mm,
Visions or something like I can't remember what the name of that was. Um but like I'm even planning on changing my room a little bit to because I don't I have my walls are kind of like used, okay?
mm,
And I'm getting bigger models. Like I'm building bigger models. So I want to do down the center with some lights coming on it. Like I'll have to find it. God, I wish I knew what it was. Um they're like lined up like high, one's low, like all that like waist level.
I remember seeing that. That's badass. I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do down the middle, and I want to display every model that I have. I don't want them just on a shelf, hidden behind each other, cluttering up the rooms. It sometimes pieces need room to breathe. Like they have so much more presence if you don't have them surrounded by a bunch of other things.
100%. And that's what I think doing this
Yeah,
makes
exactly.
helps.
Yeah. So like, like my studio scale sandcrawler I'm building, it's humongous. Like I don't have room for it down here unless I do change, the way I have it displayed down the middle.
Man, I love it.
So
I cannot wait to see that thing
uh
done.
I, I'm I'll show you pictures of the inside actually. I have pictures of the inside. I
That's badass.
I'm working on the inside of it. I'll just show it to you. I just put pictures up today of it. Um I'm doing the inside like a cross sections type thing. And then once I get the inside all done, I'm gonna finish the outside. So this is the inside of it right now.
No, that's how that
Um,
picture a second ago you accidentally brought up. Dude, that's badass.
yeah, it's all kit bash, bunch of kit parts, Um, it's almost there.
I didn't mean to cut you off. So on the inside of this model, Chris, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything in the studio scale one, right? You're just finishing that.
No, this is. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Okay, so the studio scale Sandcrawler, they didn't have interior details, did they?
No,
That's
no.
what
It
I'm
was
saying. So you're kit bashing this and building this yourself.
yes, yes.
That's badass.
You know how the original had an opening on the non-hero side for them
Yes.
to mess with the batteries and like the wires and stuff. I did a identities. That's it, Carter. It's identities, Star Wars identities display. That's what it was in Japan.
Okay.
So I kept that same shape, and then I finished the inside, like the cross sections book, kind of. I'm gonna have a bunch of Jawas hanging from the ceiling, walking on the rafter, walking on the catwalks here and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I was
And
gonna say, how tall would an actual Jawa be if it was in there right now?
well, I think mine are a little scaled a little higher than what it would be like for real scale, but I don't really give a shit about that. Like I'm just doing it how I want to do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
are you gonna
So,
put like real little cloths on them and stuff?
well,
Are you
I
gonna
actually No, I was thinking, okay, so I found this guy who made digital STL files of all the vintage figures. Okay. So when I print them up, I have a 3D printer that I print them. I can scale them down to smaller than the 3 3/4 size, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting them, I'm making them small. They're probably about 1.5 inches high, something like that. And in the smaller sandcrawlers that I made them. I made like a faux vintage vinyl cape to put on it, so it was a vinyl cape Jawa. And I was going to
Nice.
do that with these, but I think the vinyl cape would have hid a lot of the details. So I'm just leaving them as they look like vintage figures without the cape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. That's still.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little different. It's not. If I put
It'd
capes
be,
on them,
it'd
you
be
won't.
really cool though if you could. But again, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, can you tell me? Are the Jawas an inch tall? Are they an inch and a half tall?
Inch and a half tall. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So an inch and a half, you could definitely get away. I mean, you're probably you not might not know your seamstress, but it'd be cool to have little teeny capes. You know what I mean?
I thought about that. I actually was going to put vinyl capes on them, but
No,
I
but
decided,
not the vinyl, the cloth cape.
yeah, yeah, I know, yeah, but it would hide too much of the detail. I think it would just
I
look like
understand. I
cloth
understand.
blobs standing all over the place. So
I
that's not what I
understand.
want.
But if it's little cloths though, because it's like
Yeah,
real
it would
job.
have looked cool. Yeah,
And then you could
inside,
just put a couple little lit eyes in there.
yeah, yeah. Well, they have black faces with yellow eyes. You can see. I'll send you a picture of them.
Dude, that's
But
badass, dude.
the inside of this is going to. I just did whatever. There's no rhyme or reason. Whatever looked good, I use. But the outside is completely accurate to every kit part that is supposed to be there is going to be there, and no 3D print, no cast pieces, all donor kit parts from model kits. So yeah, that's my baby right now. That's what I'm doing.
That's badass, dude. Well, congrats
But
on that. Like that picture you just had brought up. You could tell me I'm building a life-size set in my garage right now. I mean,
yeah,
you can't tell what scale that is. It looks legit.
yeah, I don't. Okay, so a lot of people worry about scale. Like I
Yes.
understand, everybody's
Yes.
asking it, what scale is this? What scale is that? Is it
Yes.
1/24th? I don't care about that. I just like I just like what I like. I don't care if it's 1/24th or 1/48th or
Yes. And
I'll,
that's listen, I don't mean to cut you off, man. I'm really yucky tonight. That's exactly what I'm when I try to instill in my videos is that excuse me, when I say studio scale, I'm going off of what the models were in the film,
right. Right.
but I don't know what some of them are 148. I'm pretty familiar with most of them, but not all of them. And I'm telling you, when I talked to Lauren Peterson, that is one of the main things I discussed with him was the studio scale and what that really meant. And it was in a hotel room, but I sure that sounds kind of weird, didn't it? But I
Yeah, a little
wish.
bit. You're talking about studio
But hey,
scale.
dude, whatever. It's Lauren Peterson. I'll do whatever it takes. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
I'll go hang out at a strip club with him. I don't give a
That's
shit.
right, dude. But seriously, I think if I could have had that recorded, but you know what? That also sounded weird recording in a hotel room. So we were able in that hotel room to see footage that was never ever seen
Yeah.
by people out there, and that sandcrawler in the works was one of them. And I don't know if you've
That
seen those. What's that?
that would have thrilled me. I
Yes.
would have I would have killed to see that.
And
Cuz
there's no filming in there, and I still filmed.
oh, did you really? You got to send me that.
Yeah.
You have to send me that.
So, anyways, it's
Don't
just
don't worry, Lauren's not watching this video. I'm guarantee you that.
so, but honestly though, it was really a thrill to be in a room full of incredible artists and just holy shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe it, man.
I would my goal is actually to meet Lauren Peterson. I wanted to go to Wonderfest this past year mainly to meet him. It
Yeah,
didn't work out for me this past year. I forget why. I don't couldn't tell you what the reason was. Um, but really it was to meet him and just talk to him about the Sandcrawler, because I don't know if you know, but Sandcrawler is just my passion, the whole thing, like everything about it. I just love everything about it. And yeah, when he was on with Adam Savage the other day, I watched a video the other day about it with Lauren Peterson, and he gave a little bit of talking in the beginning about the Sandcrawler and how it was made and this and that. I'm like, I'm just sitting there with a big smile on my face.
That's
I ate
awesome.
that up, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's badass. And since you're showing this, I didn't mention in my video, but like those are Alexa plugs, and those are going to be painted a matte flat black to blend. And the reason
yeah, I was
there's a plug on the bottom there because you can't see it really, but there's
yeah, but I saw it.
yeah, that ship right there is going to be there. That's Jason Eaton's one of the background ships.
Yep, I remember seeing that and thinking to myself, "Damn it, Michael, I was going to buy that."
Are you really? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I would have been able to afford it, but I looked at it. It was in my background ship days when I was building a bunch of them. When I built like two or three of them.
Yeah.
I have a whole shelf of them over there,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that would fit so beautifully on my shelf. But
Right.
this thing is if you had to if you had to pick one of your models that you like the most. I know you don't want to. I know you don't. I know you probably are like, I love all of them because each artist put something into them. But if there's one that just was like, you just can't stop looking at, what would that be?
You would think that, and again, you said all the details of it because you're the artist, and there's no disrespect because every one of these models has some love put into it. But my passion model and a shit ton of labor and mileage went into this thing and money would be the Avenger, my Star Destroyer.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I remember the video of you driving with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I mean, I flew into Las Vegas, and I remember the very first time I met Mark Elkins, and I went to his house, and he had that sumbitch sitting in his garage, and I got still pictures of that, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh! And then he was laying out all the details that went into the accuracy of the mold of the structure, the infrastructure, and anyways, who knew a couple of years later that he was going to call me on the phone and asked if I was interested in buying it as is. And the first thing I did was pick up the phone and call Mike Salzo. And me and Mike talked for about 30 minutes. And he goes, you know what? Let's do it. So I called Mark, made arrangements, paid for it, flew into Vegas again, had that thing. And I had a trip. I think I had video of it coming back to Texas. And then I created that thing here. And then I shipped it to Connecticut. Did you ever go to Mike's and see it in the works over there?
No, I've actually never spoken with Mike, or yeah, I don't. I've
I
obviously
thought there
heard
was
all
one
about.
time that you were going to maybe get to meet him.
Yeah, Jason and I had talked about maybe meeting him, meeting up. Jason Eaton, even
That's
I think it
right.
was Jason. Yeah, we were gonna go up and hang with
Yeah.
all of that there. It just fell through. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I was kind of tertiary in that whole planning and development, so I
So,
didn't have any.
anyways, but yeah. So, but what I was going to say is, if you saw where this thing was built,
Mhm.
you just wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know. But I'm going to tell you what. You want to talk about stress? One of the most stressful times of my life was the drive back to Texas with that thing in the
Oh,
back.
sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
dude. I had a shit ton of because I picked up the base star from him then, and a couple other Battlestar models like the Colonial Mover, the Prison Ship, uh, and a couple other. But anyway,
I remember you actually drove. You were kind of driving. We had talked. We had talked about you possibly stopping because you drive. You were going to drive right close by
yes,
my house,
yeah, I
and you
was just
called me
like,
afterwards, and you're like, "Oh, dude, like I was just so stressed out. I didn't feel like stopping or calling anybody."
yeah, I had
Yeah,
to get home. I needed to get back business
yeah,
wise, but yeah. So in this picture, you can still see like the details on the floor. I've got some Colin Cantwell autographs, signed autographs that don't say to and from. I mean,
yeah.
they're legit, and then they were right before he. I'd say maybe a year before he passed. I was able to know those people.
I have to say one thing, Michael. I'm a little okay. I've heard you talk about some things. I've heard you talk about something that surprises me about you. Okay.
Okay.
Is that you're very much into concept stuff.
Mhm.
And like it actually surprised me when I heard you say that, because you have so many models that are, from the movies.
Yeah.
But it surprised me when I heard that you have a lot of concept ones, and like you've gotten even more fascinated with concept pieces.
Yes, and first off, getting concept stuff is few and far between. I mean, I think you can get the X-wing readily, but when it came to the original one that I got, which was the Ralph McQuarrie Jawa Soundcrawler, and this was because of Jason Eaton, I was able to pick up the Colin Cantwell Sandcrawler.
Mm-hmm.
So the only one that I'm missing is the one that you're building right now. And then I'll have it'll be complete. But
The one I'm building?
I got the Randy Cooper one too, so it's cool. I got these 3 different versions.
Oh, you're talking about the studio scale one.
Yes, yeah, that's the real deal. But I will tell you though that one, the Ralph McQuarrie Sandcrawler is probably number 2 for me, and I like this 4-foot Y-wing right here that Salzo built. But again, it is hard to pinpoint. But if you're just going to throw it all out there, then it's the Avenger.
Yeah, your Sandcrawler, that Jason Eaton Sandcrawler, is one of the Mount Rushmore pieces that I have viewed before. Like it's it's so high up there in my opinion. It's just
I agree. I'm very honored to have that in my collection. But it's funny though, when you mentioned the McQuarrie ones, I had first dibs on the Slave One McQuarrie one that Robin did, and I think me and you talked about it. And a lot of people thought, and this is respectfully, but a lot of people thought, it's ugly, it's kind of bubbly and kind of weird. But I liked it a lot. But I know Joseph wanted it, so I let Joseph get that. And I know, I think, were you building him the X-wing? Oh no, I know you were building the cloud car.
Yeah, I built him the blue cow car. Yeah,
that's badass. So
it turned out pretty good. I was surprised it turned out as good as it did. I like it.
It's not a lot different than the original one though. The one
not a lot different. No, there's some stuff in the middle. It's different. It's it's got like a tail rudder and stuff, but it's very similar. But I'm making him a Falcon right now. I'm making him a D'Agostini Falcon right now.
What's that?
I'm making Joseph a D'Agostini Falcon right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm like juggling between my Sandcrawler and the Falcon. It's hard for me to tear myself away from my Sandcrawler to go work on the Falcon, but I'm like, I have to do it. I have to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'd have to say, out of all my pieces that I own, I love the ones that I've built, but I don't know, like my original plan was to start building so I wouldn't have to buy other people's models, right? I wouldn't have to pay a lot of money for somebody to build. But then I started getting a few other pieces, and I realized I really like getting other people's pieces just because to see how they built it, how they painted it, how they, what all they put into it. And my favorite piece in my collection is the turbo laser that John Simmons made.
I have yet to ever talk to John Simmons, but I've seen a video, I think 1 or 2 videos that you've done on your other channel. And what a classy dude, man. I know that one day I'll get to talk to him, and I know he's I think that you don't want me talking to him. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't. Him and I, we talk every day.
I know. I remember you had said that. He seems like a cool dude. So.
Oh, he's so much fun. He's so much fun. He's funny, and he's a lot of fun to talk to. And we you and I, we talk about some off the wall things sometimes, but him and I really talk about some off the wall things.
So it's good when we have that. So so me and Mike are really close that way, for sure, me and Joseph. But like me and Richard Riley, you want to talk about off the wall? It's like people would be shocked. Like
Yeah, me too.
it's funny, but it's cool though that you have those friendships. You know, what kind of sucks is they're so far away, right? You know, so
You
but
know, it also sucks that he used to forget what time it was. Like there was a 5-hour difference. So
yeah,
I would get phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm like,
mm-hmm.
John, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, don't be calling me till then. You know,
Bro,
oh,
you
I can't
call me
forget.
at 6 o'clock in the morning most of the time.
Oh, I do. Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
like
Yeah,
what the hell,
yeah,
dude? I think
yeah. Because
one time you actually called me at like 4 in the morning or something, dude. I don't know if it was like a
it had to be a
5 in
butt
the
dial.
morning or
I
something.
wouldn't do that to you. Well, I always thought that you're only 1 hour behind me,
I'm
right?
just
So
yeah,
I
just
thought you were 2.
yeah,
So like a lot of times I'm not a phone talker unless I'm driving. I'm
yeah,
at home.
yeah.
I can't talk on the phone at all. Like
Especially if
there's
your
too many
wife's
things going on. What's that?
especially if your wife's around.
Especially if the wife's there. She gives me the side eye because I talk all day long on the phone
Yeah,
and online with guys from England and the Netherlands and Germany and stuff, you know, and then she wants my attention, you know, when she's home, and it's completely understandable, you know, because I put so much attention into this.
yeah.
When she's home, I should pay attention to her and the kids. But yeah, John's a great guy. John, he makes me laugh so hard. Like honestly, he just you would get along. You would like him a lot. He's coming over next year. Actually, he's coming to Wonderfest with us.
Nice, nice.
So he's coming
Yeah,
here. We're gonna do a road trip from Pennsylvania down to Kentucky. And he wanted to, he was like, he was saying to me, I'd love to enter one of my models in an American contest, right? Because and I said, he said, but I don't know what I would bring or how I would get it there. I was like, John, I have all your best stuff. So we'll just take one of your things from my collection and take it there and put it on display there, So
that's awesome. That would
yeah.
be really cool. That'd be a
Yeah.
treat for a lot of people here that following, and know who he is.
Oh yeah. A lot of people in studio scale modeling. I'm sure you have your favorites, but I honestly don't know that there's a better painter in studio scale model. Like his
You
paint
like
work
his work,
is
huh?
a work of art, dude.
Mhm.
It's so his paint work is he tries to make it accurate. Okay, he tries to make it as accurate to the model as the original model as possible, but he adds his own little artistic something to it, and it works too. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't deter from the original.
Mhm.
It just makes it so much better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's what
You
I love about
you
him.
have to do that, and
Yeah.
I think if you're able to give the artist that's working on, like for me, there's not an artist that I've ever worked with where I didn't give them the freedom
Yeah.
to create it and build it the way they want it. I'll give them
Right.
because someone will tell me, hey, do you want it a little bit more weathered, or do you want it looking like it's brand
You do
new?
you.
I want it looking used,
Yeah.
but you do what you think is best on it,
Mm-hmm.
But like
Exactly.
I can show you my D'Agostini Falcon. I think the paint job on it's fantastic, but you might notice some shit on there that is off, and but I would never know, and most of the people that will see these don't. But I think like learning how to paint and to be able to do that, it's got to be a really great feeling, and that reward when I remember talking to you after when you were building the Sandcrawler. It was the Randy Cooper one. And I remember seeing the paint up on it and stuff. And I was just like, dude, you could, absolutely be, you know, building models for people. And I
Yeah, I remember
remember,
you telling me that. Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
remember just thinking, dude, there's another artist right here, because it's hard to find you guys, I mean,
Yeah.
and it's frustrating if you're not knowledgeable and there's a lot of people, whether they have money or not, but they want to get into this,
Mm-hmm.
I want to own a studio scale model. Where do they start?
It's
I
hard.
mean, it's a mother freaker, dude. So
Well,
It's learning.
Not only that, but like, so I'll be like, I've actually in the last, I've had a bunch, not a bunch, but a couple people ask me to do commissions. Okay. Especially like in the last a couple months, especially because of, the channel and the new stuff. And I have to turn them down because I have 3 right now that there's 3 that I have in line. Okay. And I also want to do my stuff too.
For sure.
And I don't want to get backed up to the point where I feel like I have to
It's a
trudge
job.
through this thing. It's a job.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some people go wrong is they start overloading themselves and getting too many commissions and taking on too many. Then you lose your passion for it. It becomes like, oh shit, I gotta go do this. Like, and I don't want to get to that point. So
not to mention a lot of them end up taking the person's money. It's a relationship. It's a relationship between the artist and the client and it's on both ends. It's like you, Chris, you're very particular with the guys that you're going to take on. You don't want some hot sucker guy, and that's why me and Mike have worked out so good because if something shows up, which 95% of the time it does, it's going to be broke, There's people that have conniption fits when they get it and it's broken. They're like, well, I got to send this back to you. And it's like, dude, fix it. I know sometimes you can't, but there's never been a model that I've ever got that I couldn't just fix that had been broke. You know what I mean?
I expect it to something come off of it. It just, you have to.
Yeah.
There's
and
no
that's
way
why
it doesn't.
He's comfortable with me because, he knows, okay, this little thing, talking through it.
That's kind of another problem when people start getting into this. They don't realize that. Like they're kind of seeing they're kind of used to people, they're kind of used to their collection, things that they're buying to come in boxes with styrofoam and come perfect from a company that can replace it in a day or two, right? Like Sideshow can replace a whole hot toy within a week, right?
Yeah, can you imagine a Pop Quarry sandcrawler being shipped across the United States?
Right. Like I can't
talk about nervous breakdown, right, Chris? When you build a model and you send it to somebody, I bet you're shitting.
I stress every single time, and I can't really function right until the guy gets it, and I ask him, "Is it okay there?" Like, because I put a lot into this. It's like a baby to me, and if it shows up broken, then I'm upset, and I always make sure that whoever I do sell to, you do realize this may come with some parts broken. Like it's very likely, I'm lucky. I just sold, I don't know if you know about this. I sold my Slave 1. Did I tell you that?
You mentioned it at the beginning that you're getting another one.
Well, I sold my resin one, the same kit that you have, right? Yeah. And luckily I'm meeting the guy in between. He lives in North Carolina, I think, but we're meeting. So I don't have to ship it. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'm actually building another one from scratch, like styrene, model kit parts, metal armature. Like that's next after the sandcrawler is done.
So how are you going to do like the dome, the clear glass?
They're okay. I bought the shells from a certain person, and it came with the skirt, the hull, and the canopy vac formed, and I have to scribe all the panel lines in and put all the kit parts on, and so it's basically built like exactly like the ILM modeler is built. So that's after the sandcrawler. So, but like I said, I don't have to ship this thing, which thank God I really want to, because I put my heart and soul into that thing, and for it to show up pieces broken off or something, it's devastating to me,
So I won't mention it because you might not have talked about it yet, but that other model that you showed me that you were working on, is that still in the works? You were going to have it moving and stuff.
The AT-AT?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the Joe Johnson AT-AT?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
didn't know
finished.
if it was something you revealed. So okay,
No, yeah. I
how's
have
it
you
coming?
seen it? Have I showed it to you?
You showed me like you had the interior stuff you had worked on.
Oh yeah, the arsenal in the back.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
like those little detail things.
I do. You know what's funny is Jason Eaton's a couple of he mentions this a couple times. He likes to do things where people are going to look in one little whoever 20 people might not notice these things, but one person might look in one little crevice and see like an actual something going on in there.
Yeah,
Like just a funky little area that nobody expects anything to be in.
right.
Like the back of that, I like doing little things interior as well. Like it kind of comes from what Jason said. Like it's stuck in my brain. And like I'm learning, I'm listening to all these masters, and I take everything that they say and internalize it and use it to my my arsenal as well.
Yeah,
Um, like you're like the bases that you have. I love those. Jason made those, Jason Eaton made those, and I'm like, that is exactly what I want. Like
yeah,
I my personal models, I want to have that base because it's so much like a vintage card.
yeah,
And we got this going on behind me. It's like, and you had all of your models done with that, right?
yeah, yeah. He just sent me
Yeah.
6 more actually. The
Yeah.
ones that are going to be up there. Yeah,
Yeah. So I bought a laser cutter just for that reason. So I can make bases like that.
nice.
Um, so like I said, I take, you learn from everybody. You learn from, like Guy Cohen. You learn from like I'm building this Millennium Falcon. I watched a video where he talked about colors and stuff. Lee Ralph, how he builds things and how he IDs things. I
Mhm.
listen to that too. Everything. I don't know it all. I don't pretend to know it all. I'm not perfect. I
But
don't make
that's,
everything
nobody
perfect.
knows it all. Not one artist
Mhm.
out there knows it all. They might think
Nope.
they do, and there's a few of them that do, but they
There's a
don't.
few that do. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like I want to learn from all of these masters
absolutely.
because I'm 2 years into this and there's no end in sight.
You're doing good,
So
Chris. You're doing good.
thanks, man. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I think this is a good spot for us to stop. We can hop off
Yeah,
and talk a little more about other stuff.
sounds good. Yeah, man.
But like, hey guys, everybody, thank you for joining. This was a fun show,
Yes.
and it sucks it's taken this long for it to happen. And we'll do some more. We'll do some more.
Yeah, man. Definitely keep in touch, and
Oh yeah.
definitely everybody in the chat. It's always good hanging out, and some of these new people that I never met before. Hello, and yeah, man.
Yeah, some of these are from, from the new Nerf Herders group. And you got I wish you were on Facebook because there's a lot of great things popping up on our group. There's a lot of people learning a lot of cool things and showing a lot of beautiful things, you
And
know.
listen, like our own Collection Wars Facebook, man. I've never been on it till really the other day, and that's when I met this cool ass dude, James, that's building these laser blast things for me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's I definitely need to get on it. I'm never on there, but I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So
yeah. So I think we'll end it here.
sounds
And
good.
I'm
Good
just
seeing
gonna
everybody. And Chris, it's always good hanging out with you, man. Anytime, brother.
yeah, this was fun. We'll have to do this again. I don't have an outro yet, but I'm just gonna play the intro again because it's so badass.
Sounds good.